All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going on a journey through a collection of poems called Versology by the artist Avalok. We're going to trace a path that winds through mountains, into the human heart, and right into the very act of creating something. It's a really beautiful collection, so let's get into it.
So, the author kicks things off by calling himself a compulsive coddiwompler. What a great word, right? It basically means you're traveling with a real sense of purpose, but you don't actually know where you're headed. And honestly, that one idea, it's the perfect frame for everything we're about to explore. A journey that's totally intentional, but also completely open to wherever the river of life decides to go.
So where does a journey like this even begin? Well, for this artist, it starts outside. It's all about looking at the world, the landscapes, the people. That's the raw stuff, the clay from which the art gets made.
And bam, this line just drops you right into it. Gentle folks and tough terrains. You immediately get this sense of contrast, right? You've got these huge, imposing mountains, and then the quiet strength of the people who call that place home. You can practically hear the streams gurgling and feel that cold mountain air on your skin.
And this is what I absolutely love. The artist doesn't just tell you about the mountains, they make you feel them. It's these tiny, perfect details. That teapot hissing in the morning, the dusty old bus just winding its way up the hill, the sound of temple bells in the distance. See? You're not just reading about it, you're there.
And then you get this gem, which is such a huge lesson, isn't it? In one poem, there's this trekker who's totally fixated on the summit, the big goal. And what happens? They trip over a tiny pebble. It's such a perfect, simple reminder that, hey, maybe you should pay attention to the path you're on right now, not just where you're trying to go. Okay, so we've been out in the world, in these vast mountains. But now, the poet takes us on a different kind of trek. We're going inward. And believe me, the landscape of the human heart, it can be just as rugged and complicated.
And I mean, who hasn't felt this? That constant push and pull between your heart and your mind. The poem literally asks, who's more true? Because most of the time, they just don't agree. The artist is wrestling with this, asking, who am I in all of this? It's that classic internal battle we all face.
But here's the thing. This inner struggle isn't happening in a vacuum. It's deeply connected to the world outside. There's this poem called I Melt, and wow, the artist isn't just sad for themselves, they're melting for the entire world. When solidarity is gone, when humanity is lost, it's this incredibly raw empathy that feels almost physical. It just shows how tied together we all are.
And then there's this, the age-old tug-of-war between what inspires you and what you have to do. Your inspiration versus your aspiration, right? The artist just wants to be in the mountains, soaking it all in, getting that creative spark. But life calls. The real world pulls you back. It's that constant, delicate dance between your art and your responsibilities.
So you've got this outside world and this inner turmoil. What happens when they crash into each other? Well, that's when the art happens. It all just bleeds out onto the canvas. And that's what we're looking at next. The messy, raw, and sometimes pretty painful process of actually creating something.
Check out how the process is described here. It is not this romantic, gentle thing. No. The easel offers compassion, sure, but the canvas, it's a site for bleeding. The palette is where all your passions collide, and the art itself, it's ruthless without pity. I mean, wow. It's about telling the hard truths, which is what the best art always does, right? And sometimes, that ruthless truth is just failure. This line, I painted the canvas black. It's so simple and so devastating. The artist has this whole vision in their head, this ship in a storm, but it's just not working. The colors are off, nothing looks right, so what do? You just paint over the whole thing. It's that moment of pure creative despair. Anyone who's ever tried to make anything knows that feeling.
But then, just when you think it's all about struggle, you get this flip side, a total contrast. Here, the artist isn't fighting anymore. They're just letting go. I go with the flow. I have no control. It's like they've become a channel for the art to come through them. All they have to do is the spell check. It's a beautiful idea, this sense of surrender.
Okay, so where is all this taking us? We've been through the outer world, the inner world, the creative process, and now the poetry kind of pulls the camera back. It starts asking the big questions, the ones about purpose, what we leave behind, how we're supposed to find our way when there's no map.
And this brings us full circle, right back to that coddiwompler idea we started with. The paper boat is the perfect image for it. I have no control. It's all about giving up that idea that you can steer everything and just trusting the river, trusting that the journey itself will take you where your soul needs to be. And this is so profound. The poetry starts to question if there's even such a thing as finished. In one poem, death literally shows up and the painter is like, hold on, I'm not done yet. The whole idea is that art, and life for that matter, isn't something you complete. It's just this ongoing process that keeps evolving. And then boom, you get hit with this, just 2 lines, but they pack such a punch. Stars and dust last. You don't. Whoa. It's just this incredibly stark, humbling reminder that in the grand scheme of things, we're just temporary.
So after all of that, the journey, the struggle, the creation, the acceptance of mortality, what's the final word? It's this. So simple, so elegant. Life, I lived it, leafed through it, left it. There's no big speech, just this quiet, confident statement that says, I was here, I engaged with it all, and I was okay with it ending.
And that's where the artist leaves us, with a question aimed right at you. If life is a journey with no map, if the best you can do is just trust the flow, then the real question isn't about the artist anymore. It's about you. So, where do you go from here?